What's up? I'm doing a drawing and making a video. Today I want to talk about trusting the creative process because that's something that I'm just now kind of trusting myself to do. So I am doing this big portrait, right? And I finished the subject, and then I realized like that's only half the battle because now I have to do the background. And I'm like, I want it to vibe with the subject. Like I want the background to seem like something that complements this guy, but I also don't want it to overshadow him. Like it should still, if someone's looking at it, it should still draw the eye back to the person, right? So I'm like looking at other works, other portraits, and like they have the person like in their study or like whatever room or like some landscape, and that just like wasn't doing it for me. I just didn't want any attention to be on the background because there's a few portraits where I always there's a few portraits where I end up looking at like what's behind them and I'm like, whoa, look at the rendering of that globe, or like look at how many books they have in there, like what does that say about them? And I just didn't want that for this series. Like I just want the background to just be some sort of pattern that complements the person. But then when I'm thinking about the pattern, right, I don't want it to be boring. Like I don't want it to be like just random whatever, like a chessboard or something. Like I wanted it to still look cool and interesting and like look like, okay, like if this person was in like a Zoom meeting and they had to choose some sort of cool modern background, what would they pick? So that's kind of that's what I was working with when I was trying to decide what to do for this guy. I'm like Googling all this stuff, like corporate patterns. I'm Googling like modern whatevers. And I found something I kind of liked. And of course, it was triangles. Like, I love triangles, they're my favorite. And then, so I'm like, okay, cool, easy, triangles. And then I'm thinking, like, okay, but equilateral, isosceles, all of them, like, and then I'm thinking, like, how are they gonna work together? Because again, I don't want it to just be this like boring pattern where there's just alternating triangles. Or I thought about doing like all exactly the same size triangles, but that just looked ridiculous. Like it looked like a carpet or something. And I'm just using my sketch pad as like a desk because I mean, I've been filming videos lately like on the counter, but I just like wasn't feeling sitting in a chair. Like, do you ever have days where you just don't want to sit in a chair? That's where I'm at today. Um, it's a couch kind of day. The artist couch, welcome back. Where was I? Yeah, so I'm thinking like, I don't want these triangles to look planned and organized. Like I want them to look like the flow of thought or like the flow of conversation. Like I want them to kind of dance into each other. And that sounds, I mean, it actually sounds kind of crazy. But in my head, it's like I knew exactly how I wanted it. Well, I didn't know exactly how I wanted it to look, but I knew what I wanted like the finished thing to kind of look like. But then when I was like drawing it, it wasn't coming out. So I started, like the first ones I did were this corner here. I did this line and I did this line, and I was like, I love that. It's like not quite, this is not a triangle, and I was like, I'm fine with that. And then there's these two triangles that like mirror each other, but they're not like the same size at all, but they still like go together, and I wanted like a bunch of that. And then every time I would try to like expand from it, it just like was not looking the way I wanted it to. It was looking really crazy. Like it was just looking too, it was looking too organized. Like all of them were kind of ending up going in the same direction. And it just like, it was doing exactly what I didn't want it to do, which it was drawing my eye away from the subject. And so then I was like starting to doubt myself, and I was like, maybe this is just not a good idea. Like maybe I need to just scrap this and go back to like the planning stage. And that's where like the trust thing comes in that I mentioned earlier, because I was like, no, this is a good idea. I'm channeling SpongeBob with his pretty patties energy, and I'm like, this is gonna look good. I just need to see it through. So I slowed down and I got my ruler out, and I would just do like one line at a time, see how it looks, and either stick with it or erase it, whatever. And I did that, and I covered the whole background you see with triangles. And I didn't want them all to be the same size, so I have like some smaller ones, like these are smaller and some of them are bigger. But I wanted to keep it so that they're all around the same size but still different enough for variety. So I got that, and that took like hours, but I was like, yes, we did it. And so then it came time to color them in, which is what I'm doing now. And so I started again down here at this corner, and I had like these 3 colored in, or like penciled in. Is there like a more artistic term that doesn't sound like I'm a 5-year-old? I filled them in. I don't know. I completed them. I don't know. But I did that, and where was I? Oh yeah, so I did that. And I had those 3, and I was like, oh my god, this sucks. I like hated it. I was like, there's no way that this is gonna look good. And I almost again was like, this is not a good idea. This isn't looking the way I want. And I almost erased it, but then I was like, no, do like, do like the side at least and see how it looks. Because what was bothering me was like, I just felt like the grays looked too different. And I was like, what I said earlier, did I say that? That I wanted to avoid, I don't think I said that. I wanted to avoid patterns in shape, but also in color. So I didn't want it to be like dark, light, dark, light, dark, light. Like I wanted them to be different shades so that you could differentiate the shapes, but I didn't want them to be so different that it looked like what I just said, like super dark and then super light, like where it looks like almost black and white, like I wanted it to be close together so that you can tell they're different, but they're still like kind of bleeding into each other, right? So when I had just these 3, this one was light and then these 2 were almost the same, and I was like, that's not working. I can't keep doing that. So then I kind of started bringing them closer together and trying to keep it random with the grays. And I didn't want there to just be like lines. Like I wanted the texture, like the direction that I'm filling in, to be what sets them apart instead of just having like a line. I don't know, I just don't like thick lines. It's like the like what I'm going for, I don't want it to just look like a cutout or something. So that's what I've been doing, and I stuck with it because I mean, at this point in the way I work, I'm not afraid to start over anymore. I'm not afraid of like it taking too long, but I also didn't want to just quit for no good reason. And so I'm glad I stuck with it, because now that I have like this whole side, I think it looks pretty cool. And I'm hoping that like I still feel that way when I do all the rest of it. But I think I will. I think I'll still be excited about it. But yeah, I was working on that, and I've just been like kind of really celebrating that I didn't quit and that I stuck with this and that I'm liking it, because now I feel like I have my momentum back and I can really dive into this again, because that's the stage I was like when I was doing the portrait, like the jacket, the shirt, the face, all that is like I knew exactly how I wanted it to look, so I didn't have to think super hard. I just had to kind of like I knew exactly what I was doing. And then doing this background, I wasn't sure So it was a slower, more frustrating process. But now I'm back to knowing like what I want again. And that's just like a fun feeling for me. Like you guys know from other videos how much I like to just kind of shut my brain off and do these details and these patterns for hours and days and millennia. So I'm just really glad to be back in that headspace, and I felt like making a video about it. So the moral of the story, if there is one, is like go with it, I guess. Like trust yourself. I don't know. I was like, this is a good idea. I think it's a good idea. Like I liked it when I started it. I shouldn't give up just because it's not going exactly the way I planned right away. So this was a short video, but that's how I'm feeling right now. The sun is shining, there's a little breeze, it feels great. So if you're watching this the same day that I made it and you're also having good weather, go enjoy the day. If you're having bad weather, I don't know, watch a movie or something. Watch more of my videos, I don't know. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'm gonna keep working on this, and I will have it finished hopefully before April, because it's March right now.